Good afternoon. Please confirm whether slide is visible from your end.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What we think we should start. Few students will join later. Auto admit setting is there, so they can join. Okay, so welcome back again for this lecture on solid modeling. We continue our discussion with the previous lecture. We cannot repeat each and everything from the previous lecture, so that's why those who missed lecture, they can please contact your friends, just get information what we covered so far. We had stopped at this slide actually last time. We were talking about the modules in the CAD/CAM system. Somewhere we also say that there are different applications. Applications means, in a simple word, we can say softwares. There are different softwares, different CAD/CAM systems are available, and each application has its own strength. And depending on its say features, it is targeted to a specific group. Like for college, maybe one software is more preferable because of some other factors. Some industries which are large industries will prefer some another comprehensive software, whereas some economical softwares are also available. So as per the requirement of the concerned organization, each will prefer its own CAD/CAM system. But one thing we also said previously, that they have a generic structure and common modules. Every CAD/CAM system has got some generic structure and has got some common modules. And we should know all these modules. So awareness of these such structure and modules enables us to better understand the system functions. The major modules available in this software. Of course, we are not going into details of such modules because we are restricted to the just an introduction to these various modules. So these modules are referred as geometric module, application module, programming module, communication module, and collaborative module. So in a comprehensive full-scale CAD/CAM system, all these modules will be available. As I am saying that in a full-scale module, because if you are conversant with some part of software, you may not or we may not realize whether all these modules are available or not. But I am talking about in general a very comprehensive model, very comprehensive full-scale software CAD/CAM system, wherein these modules will be generally available and will be common to all such CAD/CAM systems. The name itself will indicate, will give the idea what it likely contains. Geometric model is something about the geometrical and solid modeling part, where we'll create some models, we'll edit some model, we'll add some manipulation, drafting, etc. will come in the geometric model. So most of the times, as a second year student, we always will deal with the geometrical model always. Whereas the second is application module. The application module is say some sort of analysis, or maybe a finite element analysis, etc. And these analysis you will carry out in the final year. So finally, in final year, you will be introduced with these application modules in different curriculum system. Programming module, of course, again a name will suggest what it will be consist of. Programming module is a programming of the CAD/CAM system itself, how the softwares of the CAD/CAM systems are drawn, are written, and how development in that CAD/CAM system is made through the programming process. And it's always a continuous process. Programming development is always a continuous process. So for CAD/CAM system, a mechanical engineer having some knowledge of programming will be a good candidate for placement in such a development, CAD/CAM system development companies like Dassault System or PTC or geometric softwares, etc. Communication module is something wherein there is some data transportation or data translation from one module to another module, say from geometric module to application module. So this, because same data will not be, because requirement of application module will be different, data set will be different, data format will be different. That's why that communication will be done by some communication module. And collaborative module. Collaborative module is collaborative word. It means that at different locations, different persons are working on the same part of the same job, and each will have its own way of doing the job, and then they can have a common discussion. Everybody can see other job, okay, and finally there will be one administrator who will accept or reject the work by the other persons. So basically, same job is being done by other persons, maybe some interrelated jobs, and one common agency or one common, we'll say administrator for that will be authorized to accept or reject the work suggested or done by the different persons placed at remote locations, especially. This is all about the major modules. In subsequent slides, same thing is written what we discussed. Geometric model is said to be a heart of the CAD/CAM system, because that is a main part, and it provides with the just a minute, give me 1 minute to get my pen. So it will have the construction, editing, etc. All this part will be the CAD/CAM, all will be the geometric model. Drafting, documentation, all will come into the geometric model. So typically what we do, we'll do a model creation, clean up, some editing, some documentation, some printing, etc. plotting, all will come under the geometric model. And then we say the application model also. This is a first unit of this subject is purely a theoretical topic, theoretical part. And next, unit number 2 and 3 will have some numericals also. Right? So this is some theoretical unit of this course. Application model. Application model. See, as I said, creation of geometric model is not the whole purpose. Okay, that is not the ultimate goal. We have to use it for manufacturing purpose. And whenever you are manufacturing, then you have to do some analysis also. So application model. In application model, we do such setup of analysis. So that analysis may include some mass property calculation, some assembly analysis. Assembly analysis means whether they are what you say, they are designed or they are drawn separately, but whether assembly point of view, they are repeated or not. It will carry the same function, desired function or not, because tolerance also needs to be provided. Sometimes you require interference, sometimes you require a clearance between two components. Okay. So, for example, ball bearings this way. So you require some type of clearances. Sometimes you require tight fitting. So this all will be analyzed in the application model. Final element modeling also will be done in the application model. So all this all part, mechanism analysis, etc., all this will come under the heading of application model. Then programming model. This will allow users to customize the systems by programming, because maybe suppose frequently say you want to draw a triangle, right? And there is no triangle command, suppose, for example. What you can do, you can program in a way so that you'll get one separate icon, separate set of instructions where in execute by single click, you'll get a triangle. Are you getting this? So if some features are repeatedly used in your day-to-day working, and that is not available in the existing CAD/CAM system, then there is a scope to program it. So that is a programming model. This is done by sometimes by the end user end, or sometimes at the company end, where there will be a vigorous research and development is going on. But as I said, that it requires some programming knowledge, especially C, C++, Java is all required. And therefore, I said that a mechanical engineer with this knowledge will be a good candidate to be, say, employed in a software company where CAD/CAM systems are being developed. Then the communication model. So, it's if you want to integrate the CAD/CAM system along with the manufacturing facilities, then you have to have some communication through some hardware and software. So this will be a communication model. Especially, you require to transfer the data. And when you require to transfer data from one module, one facility to another facility, the database are to be transferred in a systematic, desired fashion. Right? So, you must have heard IGS format. Few of you must be aware of IGS format. When you export the data from one software to another software, it means nothing but a communication. This communication is happened by some another format. This one is IGS format. So IGS format is very popular format when you export the data from one software to another software. Especially if you do some modeling in say CATIA or ProE, and you want to do some analysis on the same part in say another software like ANSYS, you have to export the data, export that model to the IGS format. So that is nothing but a communication. And collaboration, different teams at different locations, different geographical locations are working concurrently on the same part. Right? That is a collaborative work. So one team can make changes, other team can view and accept or reject. So obviously, other team, I mean that there will be only one person or one team will be authorized to accept or reject the collaborative work. That is the different modules in the which is commonly seen in the full-length CAD/CAM system. Now, 3D modeling approaches another bit in these syllabus. 3D modeling approaches. There are 3 ways of modeling. One is the primitives, use of primitives, use of features, and use of sketching. But these 3 words may be new to you: primitives, sketching, features, etc. So if you see the development of the software, the early solid modelers provided with the primitive approach. The primitive approach was a basic approach. And no advancement was available. Primitive approach in the CAD/CAM was the basic approach. Later on, after some development, feature approach is coming to that came into picture, that came into existence in the CAD/CAM software. Of course, we will explain what this feature and what this primitive is. Later, sketching approach comes into picture. So they are all as per the development. Okay, in very basic versions or in earlier days, primitive approach only was available. Later it was made available along with this feature approach, and then nowadays sketching and feature together we use. We don't use primitives nowadays, but sketching and features we use actually. Now, what is the primitive approach? Actually, we have to understand what is primitive, what is feature, and what is sketching. So, in a primitive approach, a solid model is said to be or drawn as a combination of few generic standard shapes like block, cylinder, sphere, cone, pyramids, wedge, torus, etc. So these are already available in the, you can say, a library sort of. It's a library. It's already ready to use. Now, what the end user can do? End user can pick this library available and can edit the dimensions. Like suppose if you are using, say, if you are just picking the cylinder, right? Suppose if you pick other day cylinder, right? What end user can do? End user can change the dimension. He pick the cylinder and change dimension. Dimension change means what? The end user can elongate this. I mean, the length can be increased or decreased. This dimension can be changed. This dimension can be changed. So it means that even after changing dimensions, you can have this also can be a product. That is cone. Is it not? This also can happen. So by changing the same, we don't do anything extra. Just reduce the diameter, this one, and join this. So instead of cylinder, you get a cone. So something like this. So ready to use models are available. You can pick those models and you can edit the dimensions of those models. That is a primitive approach. So these primitives are combined via Boolean operation. Boolean means, simple words, it's a addition subtraction. Addition of two components, subtraction of two components is called as a Boolean approaches. So there are three Boolean approaches: union, intersection, and difference. And now from this slide you can understand what is meant by Boolean approaches in the primitives. What you see in this left hand figure is just two-dimensional figure. Left hand figure is two-dimensional figure. Right hand side figure is a three-dimensional figure. Okay. So you see here one square and one circle. They are combined together. Okay. Now if you use union, say addition, say you get this type of geometry. If you subtract it, you can just understand that this is one geometry, and as a square is one geometry and a circle is a second geometry. So 1 and 2 geometry combined together, you get say that term is a union definition, and you get this type of resultant geometry. If you subtract this 1 minus 2, you get this geometry, right? And if you have a common part, intersection is, you get this part. So depending on what you need, ultimately at the end, you have to use proper primitives and then use the union, intersection, or difference and find out the resultant one. This is called as a primitive approach. Same thing can be revealed again in the 3D format. This is 3D form. You can see this is a block. This is a cylinder. Block and cylinder can be combined together. You say a word union is used for this combination. Addition, say you get this type of solid model. If you subtract this block minus cylinder, say cylinder is subtracted from the block. Okay, so this part will be removed. So you get the this type of model. It's a difference now. And now common part, intersection. If you want to intersection, so this much is the common part, right? Along with the length. So you get this type of geometry intersection. So this way you can manipulate, you can add, subtract, or have a common area. Okay, this way you can. This is all called as Boolean operations, and these models which are available in the library form are called as primitives. So use of primitives in the 3D operations. So here I can show you one say whether you can see it or not. This is a Boolean word is used by George Bull after the name George Bull. It basically means true or false. Okay. So CAD uses this type of Boolean operations. So or, and, not, these are the keywords, okay, which stand for in the simple words union, intersect, and the subtract. So if you see now the two cylinders are there. Can you see the screen or not?
You can see, sir.
Right. So this is say first figure talks about or gives you some two cylinders, and if you two cylinders, if you use the union of these two cylinders, then what you get is this type. Okay. This is just realize this is union. After union, you get this type of feature now. Intersect, of course, you will now understand that whatever common you see, that will be there if you intersect these two libraries models or two primitives. This one. So this is the by intersection of these two models, two cylinders, you get this as a resultant solid model. And of course, in the third case, you can expect that this is subtraction. That's why this part will be removed and you get a cut solid this way. So this is the meaning of the Boolean operations. These models are created using the Boolean operations on primitives. Okay, so I hope you understand the primitives and the Boolean operations. You can also see the next example where these three blocks, they are actually not blocks. This was a simple block, and that block can be, you can change the dimensions of the block. Okay, so you can change dimension of the block and you get result in these two blocks, and then they are added this way. Even this is also third block. This is same primitive, one single primitive having only 3 times use with different dimensions. Okay, so this is you get, and if you want to remove the material, suppose in the form of some holes somewhere, you have to use some another primitives, another solid which you want to subtract from this one. These are say 4 additional cylinders. Now these cylinders are subtracted. Subtraction word I am using, and you get a holes. Right? So this is called as a primitive approach. But now these approaches are not used nowadays. You also, I want you to see one say geometry or 3D model which is made exclusively using the primitives. I don't know which software this is, but I found this is useful, and I thought that I should show you this. So what you see, this is one solid model of one primitive peak, and now you can see that the user is now changing the dimensions of this. You can change the length of this. So a single primitive is used. Now length is changed. Okay? So you can change the length of a given primitive. Later, again, same thing is copied. So it means so far we use only one primitive. So far we use only one primitive. Again, same primitive. Now see, there is conversion, this cone is being created now. There's a frustum of a cone. But again, what you did, same primitive is again repeatedly used, only the dimension is changed. The upper circle and the bottom circle, they are of different dimension, that's it. But the primitive is only one. So far in the entire geometry, only one primitive is used. So this actually exclusively, I have downloaded this from some source, and I wanted you to show it so that there is a clarity of what is called as a primitive and how primitives can be used. Of course, what is the use of primitive? If it will be a low-end model, the software will not be that much costly. It will be very low-cost software because only limited features you are using. Okay? There's no much programming, right? And overall memory size, etc., all will be less in such software if you are using only primitives in software. And as a development, if you are a developer of a software, you also need to look into this part, that how complicated it is. Okay, you want to make it as simple as possible. You want to make the memory as low as possible. You want to make the features as less in number so that you can that will be easy for you, right? So this is all. In all, if you see now, only two features were there. Okay, one was say cylinder form, and other is some block form. Okay, this is only two primitives are used, and the same primitive, two primitives are added here and copied multiple times, and length and the dimensions are other dimensions are changed. So I hope that you understand by this way what is mean by primitive and how the primitives can be helpful. Resultant software is what? If any software is only using primitives, it means that the software will be very low cost software. And if that serves your purpose, finally what is important? If that serves your purpose, if that serves the purpose of the organization, then no problem. Why to go for high-end software if something is useful using only primitives? So this is the meaning of primitives. As I know, I am not very sure actually. I know that CATIA supports the primitive approach, but ProEngineer Creo does not support the primitive approach. Because primitive approach is not latest approach. There's one problem with this primitive approach, because primitive approach you have to use some addition, subtraction, some intersection, etc. So collectively called as a Boolean operation. This is one problem with the Boolean operation. So what is the problem? See, if I prepare a slot as a difference between two parts, and later if I lengthen the part, what will happen? See, I will show you in terms of some diagram. Suppose this is say one primitive. Suppose this is one primitive, and other primitive is say this one. Okay. Now let us say suppose this is some length is there, this is also having some length, and you have suppose some subtraction of this. So what you get, a resultant is after subtraction, maybe resultant is something like this way. This much part is removed after subtraction of this. I am drawing a 2D view of this after assembly, say after a subtraction, after Boolean operation. What model I get, that model is seen from this end, and what you see is this one, something like this. But now if you want, if I elongate this length, elongate this length of the cylinder, this will not elongate by its own. You have to do extra operation here to elongate it. Whereas if in other approach, which we will see later on, which is called as a feature approach, we'll see feature approach later, but immediately I'll explain it here also. In the feature approach, this is one whole. I mean, you treat this as a whole. and of course this is not a solid part. Whole is something vacant. Okay, so there's one feature called as a whole, right? If I say that whole is throughout, if I use the word throughout, now what will happen because of using this feature as a throughout whole as a feature? If I insert this here, throughout whole, even if you elongate this one part, the whole will be again throughout. I don't know whether you are getting or not. But I mean to say that if you create one whole with the whole approach, throughout whole, this type of feature, throughout means whatever material it gets, it will cut throughout. So it means later if you modify the dimension from this smaller dimension to larger dimension, this whole will be again throughout because you use the throughout approach. This is not possible in the Boolean approach. This is a you can say a disadvantage which is seen in a Boolean approach. So this is all about the Boolean approach. Next was the feature approach. We have seen three approaches: Boolean, feature, and sketching. Feature approach. In the feature approach, it is again similar to a primitive approach, but whole is separately given, reeb is separately given, chamfer is separately given, spring is separately given. So they are not primitives actually. They are, you can, if you want to say primitive, you can say it, but they are not actually basic primitives. They are little higher than that. It's a whole. No, whole cannot be a solid, right? So it's not primitive. Whole is one feature wherein there is a set of commands. Can you say this? Whole will be one feature. There will be a set of commands. The set of commands are used collectively, and then one tab is created. It's called the whole. That is a feature. Reeb, for example, reeb. Suppose if you say, if I draw something like this. This is one diagram I want to show. Something like this, right? Okay. And I want to put a reeb here, this way. This way I want to put a reeb. Right? If you see here reeb, has got, this also I have to show, reeb has got this type of curvature. So if I extract the only reeb part, reeb is not of this shape, rather it will be of this shape. Can you note this? This way, right? This one, and this is automatically done by a single command. Now, why it is done? This feature is made by some set of commands, and collectively you create it as a reeb. So when you use the reeb feature, it will take care that the reeb has to join this way, not to be joined this way, not to join this way, not to join by straight, but to be joined by this one. So this is called as a feature. So there is difference between feature and feature is little high end. They are not only solids. Primitives are only solids. Whole is a feature. Whole is not a primitive because whole has got a certain set of commands used together, and then if you use that command, if you use that total command with a single click, it will create a whole, right? So in a typical solid modeling software, if you see, there are two basic ways. I scratch out this, but this is actually required. The purposefully I scratch it. One method is to sketch a section of the shape to be added and then extrude, revolve, or sweep. Now this extrude, revolve, sweep, if you do not understand time being, no problem, let it be. Okay, let it be ununderstood. In a due course of time, you will understand it. So there are two solid modeling software, there are two basic approaches, basic ways. One is to use the primitive is different thing. Primitive is we use, but whatever remaining is there after primitives. I am talking about whatever is now available, excluding primitive approach. So excluding primitive approach, there are two approaches now. One is to sketch a section of the shape to be added, and then extrude, revolve, or sit. For example, if I want a cylinder, what I do, if I want to draw a cylinder, what I do, I will say, suppose this is my in engineering graphics, we have learned this type of first angle, third angle, etc. Now this type of quadrant. So what I do, if I want to have a cylinder, I will only sketch a circle. So circle is my sketch now. Circle is my sketch. And then I will use some operation on it. That operation is called as a extrude operation. This word will differ from software to software. Sometimes it's also called as a pad. Okay, in different softwares. So I'll use the operation as extrude. What will happen? All these layer, single layer of sketch will be multiplied many times, and what you get a many number of layers, and then you get a this way a solid. So resultant will be now a solid, which is created by using a circle, and that circle is actually a sketch. So sketch is a circle, and I am using here the extrude command, right? Similarly, if I want, suppose a glass, let's suppose I want a glass of some thickness. What I do, I will draw this type of geometry, okay, and I will revolve this geometry along one axis, along this axis, say x axis. If I revolve this along this axis, what I get is this type of glass after revolution. So sketch is what? Sketch is this one. What operation you did? You did a revolve operation. And what you got? This finally this one. Similarly, sweep. Sweep is what? Suppose if I want, let us say, this type of pipe. This type of pipe. In this pipe, every cross section is circle. So what I do? I will draw circle as a sketch. So sketch will be again circle, and I will use one path which is this way. This way. These two are parallel. So I use this one path, and I will say that sweep this. So sweep means what? This will sweep along this. So this section. So this cross section will be there at all points along this path. So this way I get the something like this, right? So this is whatever I did so far. This is a sketching approach, and that is why I scratched it out, because this is not a feature approach. This is a sketching approach. So one way, excluding primitive, remaining ways are two. One is feature approach, another is sketching approach. What I have explained to you is now is a sketching approach, and feature approach is what? Pick and place. Whole is pick, place it, you get a subtraction, something like this. Chamfer feature is there. Suppose there is a round feature is there. Let us suppose there are some sharp edges, and these are to be rounded out. I use one feature to round off this chamfering feature, say, or rounding feature this way. So it will, if I use that feature, it will get rounded this way. Okay. So this is a pick and place sort of thing. That is what is a feature. Of course, by using the sketching also you can do this. If I don't want to use the feature approach in this rounding off, but I want to use a sketching approach in this rounding off, what I can do? I can just see from this end. I see from this end this as a drawing. If I see this block from this end, I see this geometry. And what I do? I will now remove this much part. If I remove this much part, again I get as good as chamfering part here. But here I am using sketching approach. Here I am using the feature approach. So now let me tell you, in all your work, you will use the combination of feature and sketching approach together. Primitive approach you will not use. Generally, I'm saying there is no restriction not to use, but then you will not use it because the softwares are developed in such a way that primitive approach are nowadays not used. So I hope I made it clear between the clear definitions or clear understanding, clear difference between the primitive approach, feature approach, and a sketching approach. Right. So, for example, if you want to create one block, if you want to create one, say, hole in a block, using primitive approach, what you do? You'll pick the block first. You'll change dimensions of that block if required. You'll also pick the cylinder. You'll put it in the right location and orientation, and then you will have a subtraction. Word used is subtraction. Then you get the hole in the block. Whereas if you use a feature approach, you will pick the block, but you will not pick the cylinder. You will create a hole using the creating a hole feature. Right? So this is not subtraction. This is some whole feature you added. So this is a difference between the primitive and a feature approach. And sketching approach, just now I told you, sketching approach. We require basic sketch, two-dimensional sketch, and then you use some operations, extrusion, revolution, or sweep. Sweep can be linear, non-linear, spiral, helical. All this can be there using the sketching approach. So nowadays, as I told you that we do the sketching and the feature approach we use actually. Okay. So this was one important part. Now there is another subunit, a subtopic is geometric modeling, geometric models. Types of geometric models. There are 3 types of geometric models discussed in the literature. Okay. 2.5D. 2D we know so far, but this is not 2.5D. 2.5D, 3D, and combination of both. Of course, let me tell you here that in a day-to-day language, when we work on any software, we don't use the word 2.5D. We always use 3D word. Okay. But for literature point of view, whatever is given in the related books and related literature, 2.5D also word used, and so that's why we have to understand what is meant by 2.5D. Is anything different than what we don't know? So 2.5D, 2.5D further classified as extrusion, axisymmetric, and composite. Okay, so what figure you see on the right hand side is extrusion. So how it must have been created? It must have been created by this way. Maybe you must have sketch one thing, sketch the part. The sketching must be something like this. This you have the sketch initially, and then you given the thickness by the extrusion command. So extrusion command. So this will be sweep perpendicular to the screen this way, right? And if required, you can have a hole. Of course, this hole you can have in a first attempt only, or later on you can create a hole this way. Okay, so this is called as a 2.5D. 2.5D word is used here because there is only extrusion perpendicular to the cross section. There is not anything else. That is called as a 2.5D. 2.5D, as I said, further classified as extrusion. So this is extrusion. What you see now is axisymmetric. Here again, if you see this model, if you just imagine how it can be created, this can be created this way using this as a sketch. There is one axis of revolution, so I am drawing the axis of revolution, and then there is one sketch. You can draw something like this way. This is a sketch, and this sketch is revolved Revolved means this way to 360 degree, something like this. Okay, so if this entire section revolve around this axis, what you get is this one. So along this 360 degree, you use a same axis, same sketch. Same sketch is revolved around the 360 degree. That is why it is called an axisymmetric model, which is also a 2.5D model. And third one is this composite model. Again, composite model, if you see how you can create it, you can create it by this way. First of all, you can create this type of geometry, 2D geometry. You can extrude it. So extrusion, after extrusion, you get this geometry, right? Later on, you can use, say, another plane, offset plane, say, on which you can draw this geometry. Again, extrude it, right? Then you can pick one plane here, draw a circle, again extrude it, right? Or you can copy it here, or you can, by many ways, you can do it by solid model can be drawn by many ways. Okay, and experienced modeler will do it in minimum time using the less number of features and less number of complicated commands. So in overall, this also all contains the extrusions. Given this model, this whatever you see, this is all extrusions only, nothing else. Okay, but in every extrusion you can see the section remains same. Section remains same. So this collectively called as 2.5D. But as I said, that 2.5D word is not used in day-to-day language. Nobody, you don't see in day-to-day language that somebody using the word 2.5D. But in the literature, in the related books, this is mentioned 2.5D. So 2.5D consists of again 3 types: extrusion, axisymmetric, and composite. And already we explained that extrusion has a constant cross section and thickness in a direction perpendicular to cross section. Okay? So this perpendicular to this cross section will be direction of the extrusion, and this cross section remains same for entire extrusion. Axisymmetric, again a constant cross section revolved about axis. This angle may be 0 to 360 degree, any angle you can choose. And composite is nothing but what? A combination of multiple 2.5D objects. Because this is what, if you see how this is created. This is created by using the multiple 2.5D objects only. So these are all types of geometric models and the examples of these. Same thing actually, something repeated here, but same thing. And now 3D model. 3D model are called as, when we call 3D model, 3D models are one which do not have uniform cross section and do not have uniform thickness. That is a 3D model. So example now you can see here. This cannot be done by extrusion. For the extrusion, if you draw a circle, okay, and if you want to extrude it, extrusion will give you only this one. Okay, so this is not 3D model as per the definition of 3D model. This is done by some different command. This is done by blend. So what you are doing, on one plane you draw this feature or this sketch, on another plane you will draw something like this, and then use a sweep or a blade, okay, and then you get this type of models. Okay. So what is important to note here is that 3D model word is used in such cases where you do not have a uniform cross section or uniform thickness is not there. But if there is uniform thickness, uniform cross section, like in extrusion and axisymmetric models, we call it as a 2.5D model. So this is what you see on the screen right now are the examples of 3D models. Of course, creating a 2.5D model is usually easier than creating a 3D model, but that we can only assume, because you require to have a high-end, some little complicated, not easy to understand sort of commands to draw 3D models, whereas in 2.5D models, only extrusion and revolution and strip will help the purpose, will solve the purpose. Okay, so it is important to visualize if a model can be created as a 2.5D model, because overall degree of modeling easiness is more. I hope you understand what I mean to say. That whenever you are given with some model to draw, you have to think before starting. How easily I can draw it. Because there are two different modelers, two different students are sitting on two different computers. Depending on the understanding, depending on the practice, same model can be drawn by one student in a very less time, minimum time, and with a very less number of commands. And other student will do the model, will complete the model, but it will take much time, and he will use, say, number of commands more. And that is because of lack of enough understanding. So therefore, if the model can be modeled by 2.5D, it is well and good, because overall degree of modeling becomes easy if it is drawn with the 2.5D models. Also, to be looked into whether you can use simple commands rather than using advanced commands, or you can use whether fewer commands rather than using the more number of commands. So definitely a successful modeler or experienced modeler will use very simple commands and very few number of commands, rather than advanced command and a more number of commands by a new person. Okay. For example, if suppose this is a top view and front view of a given model, one may think this way, that I will draw first a rectangle, what you see on the front view, this way, right? Front view, I will draw suppose a front view first. This is suppose a front view I have drawn as the rectangle, then it is shown as a rhombus in 3D. And then I extrude it, because operation what I can do is only extrude now. So I can now extrude it. So let us say I extruded it this way. So I use only one command right now. But now if you see a top view, if this is the front view, and then if I go on the top, it's a top view. Top view doesn't look like this. It means something is wrong. Some extra operation I need to do. Is it? But suppose somebody does it in different way. You draw first the top view. This way. I don't know whether you are getting it now. This line corresponds to this line. This way. Larger length, smaller length. So this corresponds to this. This corresponds to this. This corresponds to this. And remaining I join it. And then I extrude it. Then I extrude it. I get this model, the required model. It means what? Nothing is wrong. If somebody starts with the front view, this part, draw this model, and then later on cut it. Then later on cut this part. Okay. He is also correct. Somebody does it, draw top view first, then extrude it. He is also correct. But who has done a good job? The person who has used the limited number of commands. Are you getting this? So same thing is explained here. Okay. Same thing is explained here. Okay. So now the word, there are 5. I'll use 2-3 minutes. I will take more. Meantime, I will give the. This is very important. Please stay here. I will explain you. Parametric modeling. But actually, what I do we have time? More time? I will give first the attendance link. Attendance is very less today. Only 56 number of students are there. Any problem? All are there or not? Somebody can respond.
Yes, sir, we are there.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, we are
Yes,
there.
because this is all a virtual word for me. Now, I want to show you this parametric modeling, but there will be few. Okay, so we will stop. Okay, so this will take more time, and almost 55 is there. Are you free, all of you? I mean, shall we go ahead little extra time or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, we can do extra.
Yes. So, see, this is parametric modeling. This word you will often hear, often will come across parametric modeling. What is meant by the parametric modeling? Parametric use a term used to describe a dimension's ability to change the shape of a model geometry as soon as the dimension of value is modified. Let me tell you very clearly, because maybe these words, from the word you may not understand exactly what is parametric modeling. But in AutoCAD, suppose if you wanted to draw a line, okay, what you do, or suppose if you want to draw a rectangle, say, if you want to draw a rectangle, before drawing, you should know what is the dimension of the rectangle. Okay? Because once you draw a rectangle by any arbitrary dimension, you cannot change it. Of course, you can scale it. Scaling is different thing. But you cannot change the dimensions of the rectangle once you are drawn. In some software now, for example, Pro Engineer software or Creo software, you can draw a rectangle without knowing dimensions. Because it will assume some dimension and go ahead. It will draw a rectangle. And now there is a scope to change the dimensions. So now later on you can change dimensions. So after changing the dimension, it will have an ability to change itself. That is called the parametric dimension, parametric modeling. It will accommodate, the geometry will accommodate itself to a new set of dimensions. That is called as a parametric modeling. So parametric in the definition form, parametric is a term used to describe a dimension's ability to change the shape of a model geometry as soon as the dimension is modified. So in parametric modeling, we utilize the concept of parametric to create solid models. We simply sketch geometry freely, similar to freehand sketching. That is what I said. If you want to draw a rectangle, you do not bother about whether you know dimensions or not. You just draw a rectangle, and the software will be able to draw a rectangle without asking for dimensions, just like freehand sketching. After finishing, if required, you can change dimensions. So we can assign dimensions at a time of creation or later. So this is a very useful concept that frees us from worrying about the dimensions while we are designing objects and models. That is what is the parametric modeling. So what I do, I will show you one small video here, and then we will stop. I want to show you parametric. So I am using the name explain parametric. This is the file name. I am using one sketch plane. This is my front view as a front plane as sketch plane. So it means anything I am drawing is on sketch. Anything I am drawing will be on the front view. Just now, I am not using any other dimensions. I'm just picking this, right? And placing the cursor somewhere else, dragging the mouse somewhere else, right? So this is all I am doing it by drawing or dragging a mouse, right? Now I realize that this one length is a little shorter, so I made some constraints. I want to make these two lines of same length, so I'm using the feature same length. These 2 points I want same. Now you can see now the geometry is drawn with some assumed dimensions. I have not used anywhere now dimensions. No user supported or user entered dimensions. Now I am using dimensions. Can you see now? Now I am using dimensions. So now if I am using dimensions, it has the ability to elongate or shorten the length. See, it was earlier it is 476 something like that. I'm changing it to 400. So now this is 210. I'm making it to 200, and it has an ability to change the dimensions itself. This is called as a parametric dimensioning or parametric modeling. Can you see this? So initially it was not used. Later initially when I had drawn that, dimensions were not used, but later I changed the dimensions. This is its ability to change the dimensions. So this is called as a parametric, right? So here we'll stop today. All right. If you have any question, please ask. If there's any question, please ask. If not, you can enter the attendance and you can leave the class.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.